Hello, good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. This bulletin is coming to you live from our studios here at Kokomlemle in Accra on digital address GA0993341 on Joy 99.7 FM. Is also live on Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi, affiliates across the country on ABN Radio in London and around the world at myjoyonline.com. The news is brought to you by UMB Bank, UMB Speed Up, DigiBank. Let's go. Coming up in this edition, scores of disgruntled customers of Men's Gold across the country converge in the Ashanti region to stage what has become one of its biggest demonstrations yet to demand their locked-up investments.
For the 1.8 million customers of Men's Gold, we are willing to die. We are all willing to die because we are dying.
Interministerial task force on illegal mining clashes with soldiers providing protection for a licensed mining company allegedly engaged in illegal operations.
Why you? But my sources, he can't take the pictures. What are you doing? What are you doing? Take the pictures.
Don't like that.
We have details. Also, former board of directors of defunct Heritage Bank challenges basis for revocation of bank's licenses, describing it as complete falsehood.
We have acted based on information available to us. We have used the same law. We have used facts available to us, which we have cross-checked. Agreed persons are well within their rights to go to court.
We'll get to hear from them and the central bank, which insists it is ready to defend its actions in court. And in sports,
Egypt have beaten South Africa to become the new host for the 2019 Africa Cup of Nations. Details coming up later.
And later in the bulletin, exercise, eat well and live.
We live in an era where we have a lot of people sitting down for long periods, leading a very sedentary lifestyle. So these are all dangerous times in which we live. So somebody may be doing a lot of resistance training. That may require you having a certain amount of calories in your body. Because you're very hungry, you have low blood glucose, and you go and exercise, you may pass out.
Health experts are warning lack of physical exercise could in the coming years wipe out more than a quarter of the population. We'll tell you about the climb up the Pedrasi Hill, which is fast becoming a routine for many Ghanaians as a way to keep fit. All that and more here on the Midday News with me, Emefa Apau. Sounds in the background are scores of disgruntled customers of Men's Gold from across the country today. They converge in the Ashanti region to stage a demonstration to demand their locked-up investments. They burned car ties and blocked roads linking Edum and Amakum, both suburbs of Kumasi, a situation that resulted in hours of gridlock. They defied a warning by the Ashanti Regional Police not to go ahead with the protest. Our correspondent, Prince Apia, was there.
The aggrieved customers massed up at the Amakum office of Men's Gold to protest. They blocked the main Amakum Edum Road and burned ties in defiance of a police order to suspend the action for failure to notify the service. Though police restrained them from going on the street march, leaders say they are ready to face the consequences of their action.
Yes, it is against the Public Order Act. What is more against the Public Order Act than when 1.8 million Ghanaians are dying, and we claim that because of Public Order Act, we should sit down and just watch. The laws are meant to govern Ghanaians and to protect us. And when we did peaceful demonstration, when we petitioned EYOKO, IGP, and all the major key stakeholders in this country, including the president, we didn't get any results. So they shouldn't sit down there and tell us that if the government and the key institution, they don't act on this issue, you just fold our arms and watch, thinking that our man will go down the drain and will come to seek permit from police. It will not happen again. With the 1.8 million customers of Men's Gold, we are willing to die because we are dying.
The demonstrators had planned to march to the Mensha Palace to present a petition to the Asantehene Otumfuo Osei II. They say their action is to compel Men's Gold to pay their locked money. They are calling on government to intervene.
We know the overlord of Asanteman, that is Otumfuo Osei II. We've petitioned his good office, and we have been there on 3 occasions. Anytime we go there, the message is that he's not around. So we want to take the opportunity to go to him and plead to him again to intervene. Other than that, to be honest with you, there's no going to be any peace in this country. Because the 1.8 million Ghanaians cannot sit down and watch their investment go down the drain.
Police says leaders of the demonstrators will be sanctioned appropriately. ASP Gordon Ahianyo speaks for the regional command.
Initially, they wanted to move to the Menchia Palace, but we stopped them and then we've been able to disperse them. We tried dialoguing with them, but they proved very difficult. But being professional, we were able to disperse them without any force, or there are sanctions, there are implications to that. So we have to identify the leaders, call them, and then the necessary processes will be taken.
Have you arrested anybody?
My understanding is 3 persons have been arrested, but I'm yet to confirm that.
Meanwhile, the police have beefed up security in all Kumasi branches of the Men's Gold offices. Prince Apia reporting.
And Prince Apia joins us live on the Midday News. Prince, so paint a picture of what exactly these demonstrators were doing today to us.
Yeah, right in the morning, in front of the Amakum office of the Men's Gold dealership office, the aggrieved customers, clad in red and black, they had a number of placards with so many inscriptions. And what they did was that they bent a number of ties in the middle of the road that connects Amakum to the central business district of Kumasi. So what happened was that traffic flow from that end to the central business district was very difficult until the police came in, and then the fire service followed to ensure that everything was calm. Then they cleared the debris before the traffic started flowing clearly. So what happened in front of the Men's Gold office this morning was a bit of a protest that until the police came in could have ended up in something else. Yeah.
Prince Apia there was with the demonstrators earlier today. We'll get to hear from the Deputy Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Elsie Awaji, shortly. But we understand that the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, has written to the lawyer for these customers. Amanda Clinton joins us on the phone. Thank you very much for your time, Amanda Clinton. So what has SEC been telling you?
Well, they basically just thanked me for my letter. And they said that they're working with other departments cited in my letter, which includes the Economic and Organized Crime Office, the Financial Intelligence Center, and as well as the Attorney General. But quite crucially, SEC said that they had a meeting with EOC, Economic and Organized Crime Office, on potential criminal aspects of this case, and that EOCO have basically filed a criminal complaint with relevant documents, and they filed this or submitted this on the 14th of August, 2018. So quite a lot of time has passed since, EOCO raised, some concern. But in the letter, the Securities and Exchange Commission quite crucially say that they have a certain parameter to work within. And they cited a certain law and said that the prosecution of an offense against the provisions of this act shall be by the Attorney General. So they basically just said they're working within their parameters. They're in court with Men's Gold in terms of the determination of their jurisdiction. But any aspect of prosecution goes to the Attorney General, and they cited the Securities Industry Act 2016, Section 2071. But the letter was very sort of cheerful in a way, because at least it said that they're working together with other parties addressed in my letter within the parameters of their jurisdiction contained in the Securities Industry Act 2016.
So this latest communication from SEC, of course, these customers would just want to hear that there is hope for them in retrieving their money. Does it give you any hope?
Well, hope in terms of, we have to first of all say, Men's Gold have not said why they can't release these funds. That's quite crucial. Because if you're saying that gold is just sitting there and accruing interest and so forth, there should be something there to give back to customers. But the second that SEC said you can't take in new depositors is the second they stopped paying people. Okay. So that raises quite a few flags. But it is very much in the jurisdiction of SEC to determine, what was going on with this company. Bank of Ghana, would have to perhaps say what these guys were doing in terms of their bank accounts.
Okay, so Madam Clinton, I would want to find out then what your next line of action will be.
Okay, our next line of action is we've already started filing in the High Court for individuals, but we're not claiming fraud. We're actually claiming breach of contract because the Men's Gold agreements with individuals, every time somebody paid money, they signed an agreement, was very generous towards the investor because they wanted the investor to sign. So it's quite simply a breach of contract and they want their money back, basically. And, once we get judgment for that in terms of the different clients, in whichever and however ways, we're definitely going to claw back and try and get as much money as possible.
We're grateful for your time. Amanda Clinton is lawyer for customers of Men's Gold. We can now hear from the Deputy Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Madam Elsie Awaji.
I'm sorry. Bank of Ghana has been very clear for a long while about the fact that this was an unlicensed operation. We were not responsible for it. We warned the public at different points in time. We told everybody if they continue to keep their money there, they did that at their own risk. Well, we had started the process of close consultation with other stakeholders, which we had wanted to work with. You don't just get up and close an institution. You need to understand what's there. What are they holding? Whose deposits? In what amounts? How are they invested? If you close them, where can you find it so people can get? And so that process, it takes a while. And with Men's Gold, we had no visibility at all in terms of what was going on there. I mean, we didn't regulate it. There's no way we're going to give it anything. We don't have anything to do with Men's Gold, unfortunately.
Okay.
Or fortunately.
So no intervention?
Nothing.
You hear the second Deputy Governor of the Bank of Ghana. Now, let's stay a while longer on issues related to the precious mineral, that's gold. The Interministerial Task Force on Illegal Mining over the weekend nearly clashed with a military team providing protection for a licensed mining company allegedly engaged in illegal operations. Nawara Mining Company is said to be using alluvial mining methods at Nswaprem in Fantiakwa district of the Eastern region in a breach of a buffer zone arrangement along River Bream. The soldiers will, however, not allow filming of the arrest and subsequent confusion and attempted to obstruct the work of the task force. Love FM's Erastus Asaridonko has been travelling with the task force and now reports.
Our first stop was at Nswaprem in a concession of large-scale mining firm Nawara. The team was greeted by scenes of reclamation carried out by the company, apparently to conceal what turned out to be illegal alluvial mining methods contrary to mining regulations.
So a large-scale mining company, is that how you do your washing?
The whole work is not
currently,
like this.
What are you doing here with this
Now, we are doing this way because we have obligation to cover all these things, which has been ordered by the Mineral Commission.
Thank you very much. So our duty is, when we move, we see anything like this, the machines we get at that very site, we have to track all away straight to Accra. Then you come and answer the questions there.
Let me explain it.
Are you okay with that?
Fine.
So we'll go away with these two machines straight to Accra.
Chief of Achim Himan Osaberma Mrikisi Okasum Apuriata tells Love News he is equally incensed by the company's activities.
Because it's within the buffer zone. Even if Narawa had a mining license, the law does not allow them to destroy the buffer zone under Bream. I'm the chief of Himan, and it's within my jurisdiction as a traditional ruler, so I have to protect the water. And they've even gone to destroy my sacred grove. Should the regulators refuse, then we shall be forced to take the law into our hands.
There was a direct confrontation between the task force and soldiers protecting the company when they issued a warning for us to stop filming the arrest of personnel of the company.
Why you? By my sources, he can't take the pictures. What are you doing? What are you doing? Take the pictures.
Don't like that. At Apanaman, also in the eastern region, the task force found almost 2/3 of residents actively mining near electrical installations and residential facilities. The destruction with earth-moving equipment is huge, covering miles of forest reserves. 9 excavators were seized. Ohene Ajekum is leader of the Interministerial Task Force.
So far, excavator 10.
So far, we have seized 10 excavators. 2 are not working, but we sent the 8 to Accra. The miners fled the scene even before we got here. and they hit the excavators. Reporting for Joy News, Erastus Asaredonko, Kumasi.
Let's talk about banking now on the midday news, because former board of directors of defunct Heritage Bank is disputing the basis for the revocation of its license by the Bank of Ghana, describing it as complete falsehood. They have also served notice the shareholders of the defunct bank may go to court to set aside the Bank of Ghana's directive. The central bank revoked the license of Heritage Bank, reporting the bank's license was obtained with capital from questionable sources. Raymond Akwa joins me in the studio with a copy of your statement on the matter. Raymond, what does the former board say about the claim that the bank's capital was obtained from questionable sources?
So they first say they find it puzzling that the Bank of Ghana should be disputing the existence of a contract between them, as in the bank, and also Cocoa Board. And also said that when the bank, as the Bank of Ghana, as part of its due diligence ahead of the granting of this provisional banking license, had requested and received information and confirmation from Cocoa Board of the existence of this contractual arrangement between the Cocoa Board and the said shareholder. Now, they proceed to say that they want to put on record that Heritage Bank never received, nor is the board aware of any order from the High Court or any other court for that matter for disclosures relating to any contract involving Mr. Seydou Agongo. And you know, Seydou Agongo is standing trial in that particular Cocoa Board case. Yes, so that's what they say primarily about this matter.
So there was also a concern about related transactions with the BOG, and they said they were not transparent. What's their response?
So they says that the grounds for the revocation on this particular claim doesn't make a lot of sense. 3 companies were cited the BOG statement. First is Sash Alliance. They say Heritage Bank gave facilities totaling 6 million, an overdraft of 3 million, and a bank guarantee of 3 million, which were fully collateralized. They were subjected to the standard credit requirements and were duly approved by the board in accordance with some acts. Of course, Section 67 of Act 930. And of course, these are the only transactions they did with such alliance. They also make reference to More Company Limited and talks about a vehicle leasing contract with Heritage Bank. They said that also met the standards they wanted. This contract, according to them, was terminated when the bank purchased the vehicles. The last one is Kedge Company Limited. The company rents out property to some of Heritage Bank's branches and couldn't have been said to have done anything wrong in this particular case.
So finally, Raymond, we understand they disagree with the BOG saying its significant shareholder, Seydou Agongo, fails the fit and proper test. What do they say about that?
First, they insist it is not clear to them how the Bank of Ghana came to this conclusion. But this is a matter of obviously being dealt with the said shareholder in the court in a manner that they deem appropriate. Now, they also make the other point that you should note about this claim. They say that neither the bank nor its directors or shareholders were afforded the statutory period by the Bank of Ghana within which to have responded to the allegations made prior to the abrupt revocation of its license, contrary to the provisions of the same law under which the license was revoked.
Definitely, this issue will be interrogated further in our subsequent bulletin. But the second Deputy Speaker, Governor, I beg your pardon, of the Bank of Ghana, Elsie Awaji, maintains the BOG was right in its decision and remains prepared to defend it in any forum. She spoke to Daniel Darcy on the Super Morning Show.
We've examined all the records available to us, internal and external, and everything we said is backed by the facts available to us. Okay.
Does that then mean that these checks may have happened, but the licenses were issued? The license was issued nevertheless.
We have verified the facts and the records available to us, and we're standing on firm ground when we say the things we've said in our press release.
We find persons within saying that, look, they are being targeted, the Bank of Ghana is being selective.
What would be the basis of that allegation, of that claim? I mean, we have...
Heritage, for instance, has named something saying that you're stating falsehood, which you dispute, of course, but that's their position.
I did dispute that. And people are well within their rights to dispute actions of the central bank and dispute facts. In the end, there are processes, for confirming who's right and who's wrong. And I would encourage people to pursue those. But we have acted based on information available to us. We have used the same law. We have used facts available to us, which we have cross-checked, which we have investigated and confirmed, based on which we've taken action. And based on that, it will be very difficult for anybody to show that we have been selective or we haven't applied the law fairly. I mean, at all. People, aggrieved persons are well within their rights to go to court or go to any other mechanism available by law.
Mrs. Awadji also revealed that no official of the central bank has been transferred over the banking crisis. She's also announced that the central bank has decided to make some funds available for the payment of compensation packages for workers of defunct Capital and UT banks.
The Bank of Ghana has decided on purely humanitarian grounds, that what was owed to it by virtue of liquidity support that it had given to these banks, which ranks very high in the hierarchy of claims, what should have come to the BOG, should be used in part to pay off some of those claims for the two banks.
UT and Capital.
Yes, because some recoveries have come in.
Okay.
Which BOG is entitled to by virtue of liquidity support it provided to those banks that remained unpaid. But purely out of humanitarian grounds, the Bank of Ghana has decided that we would allow you to take part of our money to alleviate the hardship of these former employees.
You heard there the second deputy governor of the Bank of Ghana, Elsie Awadji, speaking to Daniel Dazi on the Super Morning Show. This is the midday news here on Joy 99.7 FM. Let's head to Kumasi because we're told that there's a development on the Manson Kwanta killings. You recall that last year, 7 persons were killed by police on suspicion that they were armed robbers, a claim that were disputed by family members. And Kwesi Deborah has been following that and joins us on the line. Kwesi, we are learning that there have been some payment to the family of these victims. Tell us a bit more about it.
Yes, this was in response to a question asked. That was an appeal asked by the president of the Zongo Chiefs, and that's Haji Musa Akamba. And he said that they've heard that they're going to be compensated. That's talking about the victims for the family of the victims. And he said that he wants the president to initiate the process and to also facilitate it. It was then the president came in and said that an amount of 250,000 cedis have been earmarked for the families of these victims. So, and also, he has also charged the IGP to initiate processes to interdict the police personnel who were involved in these killings. So that is what we hear now from the president.
That is the latest on the Manson Kwanta killings from Kumasi. We heard the Kwesi Deborah. It's a good time to take a quick break here on the Midday News. When we return, waste management company Zoomlion denies any wrongdoing as it reacts to surcharge and disallowance by Auditor General. We have details of the statement for you.
If the central government cannot control Zoomlion at the national level, how can the district assembly control them locally?
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us here on the Midday News. Before we go for sports, 1 year and 5 months after Joy News investigation revealed systemic malfeasance in the award of sanitation contracts to the Jospon Group, no action has been taken by the Ministry of Local Government and the District Assembly's Common Fund to curtail the issues exposed. The Attorney General and Ministry of Justice is yet to press any charges against the companies and individuals involved. In the following report, Manasseh Azuria when he reviews how one of the fumigation contracts revealed in the Robbing the Assembly's investigation is the reason the Auditor General has surcharged and disallowed over 400 million Ghana cedis paid to Zoomlion by the National Health Insurance Authority.
The fumigation exercise, if we're really involved, members will not have even agreed because the impact of it is not felt in the district.
Thomas Nkpetri, the presiding member of the Pandai District Assembly in the Northern Region, believes the assemblies across the country have no control over Zoomlion, which runs multiple sanitation contracts with assemblies.
If the central government cannot control Zoomlion at the national level, how can the district assembly control them locally?
One fumigation contract that has become the subject of the Auditor General's surcharge and disallowance is the Nationwide Mosquito Control Program, signed between Zoomlion and the Ministry of Health. Payment for this contract is made from the National Health Insurance Authority. Former Chief Executive of the authority, Sylvester Mensah, in a press statement said the payment was ordered by the Ministry of Health and so the NHIA was not involved in signing or monitoring the contract. Joy News investigation has revealed that the Ministry of Health does not monitor the execution of this contract. The assemblies where the contract is executed said they did not know the difference between this fumigation contract and the one the assemblies signed. Former District Chief Executive of Bongo in the Upper East Region, Alexis Ayamdor told Joy News he had no knowledge that Zoomlion undertakes any different fumigation contract apart from the one paid for by the Assembly.
The Anglo-Gold Ashanti-led projects, I can authoritatively say that they were quite visible and we had interacted, had their quarterly review meetings which I was invited to participate. But aside these malaria-related programs, I cannot think of any clear, visible activity that were done in terms of spraying of malaria at the same time.
Well, Zoomlion says it did nothing wrong. Here's an extract of a statement it issued yesterday.
The surcharge and disallowance certificates were served on a company which we disagreed with and have appropriately appealed against it at the High Court in accordance with law. Without preempting the ruling of the court in the appeal, the management of Zoomlion Ghana Limited wishes to assure the public that the company believes it has done nothing wrong. Zoomlion's contracts in the areas of disinfestation as a preventive health measure have been with the Ministry of Health and all work have been duly done, executed and paid for. The management of Zoomlion Ghana Limited wishes to reassure its stakeholders and the general public that it has done no wrong and call on the general public and media to exercise restraint and caution in any discourse on the issue.
It's time now for the latest from the world of sports, and Ridwan Ibrahim Asante is here with the latest.
Now, Egypt will replace Cameroon as host for the 2019 Africa Cup of Nations after winning a CAF Executive Committee poll this morning in Dakar, Senegal. The North African country got 16 votes and South Africa managed just 1 vote in the 2-horse race, with 1 member of the Executive Committee abstaining from voting. Journalist Dr. Hussam Hassan has told Joy Sports this is big news for the country.
As you know, that fans are expected to attend games in Egypt since 2012 after the Said incident. So it's a good chance for fans to attend the games freely without restrictions or without security restrictions. So you see clubs in Egyptian clubs in the competition and African competitions, clubs like Champions League and Confederations Cup are attending with limitations or attending the games in outside Cairo. This is upon security request. So hosting the AFCON can force the security to allow fans to attend the games regularly and without restriction as regarding numbers and venues.
Dr. Hussam.
Also, it is a chance for the national team to win the title after we lost the last title against Cameroon in Gabon 2017.
You heard Dr. Hussam Hassan. He's an Egyptian journalist talking to us on Egypt winning the North to replace Cameroon as host for the 2019 Africa Cup of Nations.
And that's it for Sports Radio, and thank you. Now, many Ghanaians are turning to various weight loss activities just to keep a perfect shape. The extent some will go to achieve this will shock you. But increasingly, health experts are warning the lack of exercise could in the coming years wipe out more than a quarter of the population. And with the turn of the new year, the caution is exercise, eat well and live. Komladum has more.
I traveled out for my studies in UK. When I came back, I was bloated. I've become very, very fat. Friends were laughing at me, Obolo 30, because it got to a point I was getting annoyed.
Uncomfortable with the taunts and ridicules from friends. 40-year-old Fred Kuma, back in 2013, weighed in excess of 120 kilograms. That's almost about the weight of 3 bags of cement.
It was then that the doctors or the hospital advised me to come to the hospital initially. From the physical point of view or from the medical point of view, I've been advised to shed weight off.
5 years on, the 40-year-old teacher with the Ghana Education Service says it's been hugely rewarding.
My friends, most don't matter so much about exercising. All they know is mostly going out in the evening and whatever. Except some few. For me, it is highly rewarded.
It is because of this that the World Health Organization is recommending that at least 150 minutes of physical activity or exercise in a week. This could be cycling, brisk walking, or swimming.
Komla Adam's report there. It's time now for us to check out what's trending on social media. What are people talking about?
Well, people are talking about the hashtag AFCON 2019, Egypt and South Africa. And at KPoison1 says, 2019 AFCON will be held in Egypt. No need to take Black Stars there self. Ghana for Start Agenda 2021 now. And Marwan Ahmed says, it's coming home. Hashtag AFCON 2019. And at Lid Sego says, Egypt will be hosting the hashtag AFCON 2019 for the 5th time with just 6 months to prepare. All the best, Egypt.
And that's how we end today's edition of the Midday News. I am Emefa Apau. There's more news when you log on to myjoyonline.com. Have a good afternoon.